What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review. Hanging out with Rob. We're chilling, and we're not chilling. I'm hot. My AC is not working right now, and it's almost 90 degrees in this room. It sucks. Welcome to Texas. So we're talking a couple of quarter-century Hellcat releases. That's a weird way to say it. When you say it like that, it sounds so much longer.
Yeah, it's like this is like ancient times, quarter century ago, like in the industrial era or something.
A quarter century ago when we had another shitty president.
Yeah, that's why nothing's actually changed. We're just all uglier. Like that's the only thing that's different.
Dude, when I tell you, okay, so anybody's wondering what we're talking about? Leftover Crack, Mediocre, Generica, and Tiger Army 2, Ghost Tigers Arise. When I was listening to Leftover Crack, I literally was like transported back in time, and I was looking around and going, oh, it's just 2026. Okay, that sucks. Well, thanks a lot for telling me the future. I just didn't realize it. We thought things are going to get better. Here we are. Fuck.
I tell people all the time when they see like a picture of me looking ridiculous, from back in the day. And I'm like, yeah, despite my best efforts, the system didn't fall. And so that's why, that's how I'm stuck here. Basically, I'm part of the failed revolution. Didn't really fight that hard in that revolution, but I consider myself a member.
You know what's crazy about that is I wouldn't say that I fought hard necessarily, but I definitely attended protests. I definitely signed a few petitions that were meaningful, and I did a little bit of what do you call it when you donate your time? Charitable work with my time, and I did a bunch of food not bombs. I did food drives of all kinds. I did a lot of stuff like that, and I thought, man, we're fighting the good fight, and I still believe that we were fighting the good fight. But man, looking back on it, I think we probably should have been angrier. We probably should have been more proactive. So anybody who's young and watching this, I'm not citing that you should do anything in particular. What I am saying is that if you have a cause that you champion and you have a thing that's important to you, it is in your best interest to stand up for what you believe in. I am not, let me be very clear about this, I'm not advocating for any kind of violence. I'm not that kind of person. I just don't. I think the time comes for revolution, and I don't know if that's right now or not, but I'm not personally going, and then go do this silly act. No. Don't get yourself locked up because then you can't help anybody. But, man, if you can do a protest safely, if you can do some kind of charitable time work where you can go out and give your time to people, if you can get some food together for people that need it, if you can help people get out of legal trouble, just whatever it is that you specialize in, if you can do something, please do it. We need it. And in 25 years, those kids that are listening to the Slugger album and talking about it hitting 25 years, or the Taker record, or whatever it is that's coming out right now, those people are going to wish that we had done more and that they had done more. So it's weird because I thought about it. Yeah.
But it is the site. But I also think sometimes I think I wish we were smarter back then. What I mean by smarter is more I feel like we're on the right side of history, but even more not intense is the wrong word because people will take that in the wrong way. But I would just wish we were more educated on these things in a way that was more effective, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that is sort of just the nature of time and how it goes on. Because you're right. Like those guys who are getting their punk right now for the first time, and they're kind of being radicalized with this, they're going to think they didn't get enough. The other thing is I'm also going to because maybe it wasn't radical enough back then, when I'm looking back at music of the time, I'm also going to kind of judge it of the time and not with the benefit of everything else that comes after it. So yeah, maybe the political punk of 2004 isn't as analytical as we're about to talk about right now, but so what? Because I probably wouldn't have heard about these causes or known about those causes if they were not delivered in that way, that irreverently or that sloppily. If honestly think about Fat Mike's, he kind of got into politics very sloppily, but I wasn't necessarily exposed to politics through him and his band, but I know a lot of people who were and who ended up, I think, with the right side of politics, even if his politics would just, like I said, I just wish it was better. I don't think it's on the wrong side. I just wish I wish he would I felt more for that, but who cares? He's a guy in a band. I don't actually need him to do any of those things. I think he did his job in that respect. And we can have criticisms here or there. So I'm kind of playing both sides in that, I agree with your sentiment 1,000% because I feel that if I watch a Michael Moore movie from 2004, I was true. I don't disagree with anything here, but this is so surface level. Yeah. It's just this is so surface level from how we would look at this now, but also you have the benefit of 20 years in the future. So baby punks right now. You guys are the only ones left because the world literally won't be there. We're going to kill it. So if you're like a born kid with a mohawk right now, you guys are the ones that are going to watch this. You're going to get inspired by this. And you're going to save the world.
Yeah, I hope so, because we need it. We need it, man. Yeah, well, you know, I don't even know how to respond to that other than just to shake my head and be like, yep, yep. It's crazy. So okay. Yeah. I think based on that, I guess we should start off with the Leftover Crack album.
Let's do it.
And then we'll go into a lighter topic after that. But yeah, here, let me write this down real quick. You know that song that there's that guy that got accused of making the AI song? He's like a rapper dude. Mm-hmm. Like that song's been stuck in my head for a week.
That's really the machine literally getting to you where you can't get
the fake
song out of your head.
That song is super mid at best.
That was probably optimized to be in your head more than anything.
100% it is. Let's look
at this album was not. This album was meant to be hostile to your ears.
Bro, we're gonna get into that here in just a second. So I gotta find out. I can't remember what the. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was released almost exactly 25 years ago.
Well, on a pretty significant date, right?
Yeah, September 11th. I was just double checking. I was pretty sure it's when it dropped. September 11th, 2001. That's insane, honestly. Like that's absolutely.
This album came out that day.
Yeah, that's.
Punk.
For some reason, I thought it came out in May, and I double checked it and was like September. Did you see my face? I was like surprised.
I was thinking, oh shoot, are we talking about the wrong album? That's what I was worried about, to be honest with you. When you were, I could tell that the reading that was going on.
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh, and then I looked at the date and it kind of twisted me up. I was like, that's weird.
Well, because I associate the cover of the next album though with
correct
September 11th. That's
yes. Well, there's a whole lot of drama with that. We'll cover that one eventually, but yeah. So on one of the most memorable days in U.S. history, September 11, 2001, we got Leftover Crack, Mediocre, Generica. I think I'm saying it right. I think it's supposed to be saying a Mediocre America, I guess.
It's kind of like a 90s kind of turn of phrase like they would do back then.
Right. This album's only 33 minutes in length, which I think is interesting because I had a much longer memory of the album. Like in my memory, it was so much longer than that.
It fills every bit of those 33 minutes, if I'm honest.
Right. It's only 13 songs, and it feels like it's 17. Like, you know, it starts off, I think, dude, you want to know why I think it feels so heavy and so long?
Why is that?
It's got a lot of filler, dude.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about that, but like, my general take is this is more art than music on the scale of art and music that is punk. Like, as art, sure. I absolutely love it. As an album, if it's just like, if I'm album critic guy, like, this is very unlistenable. Now, punk at its essence can be unlistenable as like a quality. So I'm not being dismissive of it, but just like as an album, I would much rather just like want to hear one of these weird ass songs and throw one on because I'm in a mood that actually like talk about the research being a little bit of a drag for something I absolutely like. It was just kind of hard to discipline myself to sit down and listen to this.
Well, So I was supposed to have Stizza on the show at some point in the last few months, and he never showed up. I would like to talk to him still. So if he ever sees this, I'm not trying to bash his band. I've been a fan of Choking Victim, Leftover Crack, was it No Cash? Is that what the band's name was? And then Star Fucking Hipster. So I've been a fan of a lot of his projects.
Get all of them confused, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean all his personal stuff is none of my business right now. I think a lot of that was. Well, I'm not going to get into it. Whatever. Yeah. That stuff is a different conversation. We'll have that conversation if we need to. But speaking solely about the music, I would love to ask him about, like, why did they go in the direction of, well, like the direction they went, like, because the Crack Rock Steady sound is very, it's like they took black metal and death metal, mostly black metal, and like mixed it in with Operation Ivy. And some people really love all that. I find it to be hard to like get into, I guess. Like I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like there's a lot of people that really love this.
I agree with what you're saying.
Like you said, as art, you know, as a whole, I enjoy it quite a bit.
I think we're on the same page. You and I have talked about it before, like, and we use the term like melody very loosely, but there is something of like a catchiness or something like that even like Minor Threat has to their music. Like that punk itself is a very like appealing music in that way.
Absolutely.
And this is, I think it's like it's competent but intended to be abrasive. So you
Right.
interact with it a different way than maybe you do with like 80s punk that just like the musicians didn't know any better and they didn't know how to record. So that's why it sounds like that. Like this is a well recorded mess in that kind of way. So it's just less accessible. Like I think that's just what it comes down to.
And I think that's kind of by design.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do think they're trying to weed out some people, maybe some people that listen to nothing but pop punk. I don't really know. And I don't really understand that either, but I understand that they do that.
I understand it like I don't like it in terms of punk because I don't like the whole like gatekeeping thing on a, like we do it on this podcast kind of as discourse, but like in reality, nobody actually likes that. But at the same time, I understand the idea of wanting to offend with art to make your point and to be like you can have a movie can be a great movie and you only can watch it once because it makes you uncomfortable, and it can be a great piece of like cinema. And I know I'm kind of overthinking that of what this is, but like to me, that's what this kind of stuff is, because like I unabashedly like it though too. Like I think this is like the coolest stuff ever. Like again, I get this mixed up with Leftover Crack. I mean, with Choking Victim, I might actually like the music of Choking Victim specifically better than Leftover Crack, but I think it's in that same that very just hardcore, not in terms of the sound. I mean, although there's a lot of that sound, but a hardcore lifestyle, hardcore music, hardcore ska. Everything about it is just very like intense on a spectrum that like even Rancid or those kind of darker bands in the more mainstream punk never really hit, even though they sort of like nod to those things.
Well, this is way darker in tone than most of that stuff. I think that sorry, my property manager just texted me with the number for the guy to get on my AC. So let me text him in a minute when you're talking.
Stuff. Yeah.
No, dude, it's very, very warm in here. But show must go on, right? I think it's all abrasive by design. I will say this, for as much as there are parts that I go, this isn't really for me, it does have like a cohesive like flow to it. Like it gets from point A to B or A to Z or however you want to call it. It gets to its destination still on the tracks. Like it never really just goes haywire and goes, boom, 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 fell off. It's doing this and doing that. No. It there's a track and it stays on it. It's just okay. But did I like the scenic route? Did I enjoy that particular trip? Well, there were parts of it that I really liked. There were parts of the trip yesterday I really enjoyed. There were parts I didn't care for so much. But I'll say this. The songs that I think I also like Choking Victim a little bit more. Those are the two bands that had the most in common that he made. They basically sound like one project to me. The AC just got noticeably cooler all of a sudden. Not a lot, but a little. I know, just enough to like
enough for you to fill it. Yeah.
Yeah, just enough for me to be like, oh, okay, I'll take that. Like I'm like, okay,
hope.
84 degrees. I'll take 84 degrees. Yeah, I think they got something to say, and it's like if you can't listen to that kind of music, then you don't need to hear their message. Maybe it is kind of gatekeepery. It is kind of hipsterish. It is kind of pretentious almost, right? And I don't say any of those with like bad intention. I don't mean those as a disrespectful comment. I also think that the people that made it are just into that kind of music. They're into black metal and they're into ska punk, like they're into political punk, right? And so they also created something that was fairly unique. I mean, have we had another genre come out since this that was as genre defining and changing as this? I can't think of one.
Not within our sort of space. No, if it's
anything
else, it's going to.
Folk punk started with like bands like Against Me and even further than that, Violent Femmes and stuff like way back. So I can't say folk punk has been since this, but this is the last real, what do you call it? The last real,
I don't know, like creative thing. Even that's not fair to like newer bands, but kind of is like in the way of. I mean,
it is what it is, dude. If you want to be called that, go out and create something. I can't help you if you did.
Yeah, and I think
I'd say like the Cold Oi thing was probably the most recent, I guess. But but it wasn't as big as this. This got big. This band's very big. Dude, Leftover Crack is bigger than any Cold Oi band I've ever talked about.
Right. And even you talk about like your boys in like Bullshit Detector, I think they have like a very unique kind of like innovative sound, but I don't think like they would get enough credit for like stumbling upon that, as if like people were to analyze this necessarily, because I think
Well,
that fits together a little more logically. Maybe.
it's funny you say that because I think they do. I think they do
Okay.
get that credit, especially in the
I hope
U.S.
so. I hope so.
Like in the U.S., they basically spearheaded it. They were the
Mm,
only people really out here doing that like that. Like where
mm,
they decided to do it and they went that direction. Whereas other bands like dabbled in it when it got popular and still did a great job. I'm not
mm.
talking any shit. I want
Right.
more bands to do it, but I think the French were really the people that started it worldwide. But then it came over here,
So
and
you think that's like they are going to be the band that defines that sound?
as far as U.S. stuff is concerned, yes. Now the
I mean,
sound is a by and large French sound. I think bands like Camera Silence and Blitz
mhm,
did it back in like the early was mid 80s, I think.
yeah.
Second Empire Justice was like a much more like, but I mean that album was universally hated by people until the sound became popular,
Mhm.
and then people were like, oh,
Well,
this one album. But
well,
like,
that also prepped that. Whereas like when I hear the modern stuff, I'm like that I can get someone into that. Where it's like you just have to be down for the cause to be into this. Is sort of how I feel.
yeah,
Like, and that's
yeah,
what that's the gate. Like honestly, like there could be there's other forms of media that are like this, but like if you're not really like about that life, then it just probably won't appeal to you. And that to me though, that's not a positive or negative kind of thing. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just like not everything is for everyone. This one though, it has such a serious kind of intense tone that I think
oh, dude,
generally guys like us, whether you're about that life or not, are just kind of attracted to dangerous things. That's why we like punk rock and stuff like that. So there is an attraction to it that
well,
just is very appealing.
there's a certain amount of middle finger like this
Mhm.
just in our DNA because of what we like. You're not really attracted to the punk rock lifestyle, okay? Not
Right.
just the music, but the lifestyle, unless you're a certain amount of stubborn and uh, troublemaker-ish, I guess. I don't know. There's a bunch of words you could use, but stubborn's the one I think fits the best because we're all stubborn people,
That's
man.
the
We're like,
common
no,
thread, no matter
like,
what.
no, you're not going to tell me what to fucking do. I'm going to do what I want, how I want to do it. That's exactly how I ended up in this shop doing what I love to do, is because I was just so damn stubborn. And I worked really hard, I had a great work ethic, but you couldn't really tell me what to do. So you could give me like a list of things to do and I would get them done. But if as soon as you came and micromanage me, I get in trouble, I lose my jobs, I start arguing with the manager. I don't like that shit, man. I also don't like rules. I don't like police. I don't like judges. I've been to jail a few times. Like, I just don't like being told what to do. And that's at the very bottom of it. The nature of punk rockers is that you shouldn't be telling motherfuckers what to do. Let people live their own lives. Don't tell people they can't do who they want with what they want with who they want. Don't tell people they can't be who they want. Don't tell this guy of this skin color he can't be over here. Don't tell this one that they can't be over there. Like, fuck out of here with that nonsense, man. We're all just people. We're all here together. Why can't we all just get along? And by get along, I mean leave me the fuck alone. Like, it's crazy how many people just follow what they're. Dude, it blows my mind the amount of sheeple I know, dude. People that are just like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever you say. I'm like, bro, like there's a certain amount of things I got to do. I can't
Mhm.
say certain words on Google, but I made that decision. I decided I wanted to be on YouTube and I wanted to do this. I wanted to follow those rules. Okay. I could at any point in time just stop. I also decided to only sell punk and metal music. So like, anyways, this album is of that ilk
Mhm.
to a degree that is rare. And it hasn't been, yeah, it's the last great innovation in punk rock, I would say. And look,
Yeah.
dude, there are people that hate this band or people that love this band. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the music.
But I think
And
it affects no matter who listens to it. Like
100%.
it would be hard not to have an opinion of it if you
It's
heard
very
this.
polarizing. Excuse me,
Mhm.
polarizing. Well, now that
I
you said all that, go ahead.
no, I was trying to fill time because I think you were
Well,
drinking
I
some
was
ice.
gonna say, let's talk about the music for a minute and like the
Oh,
songs and like what do we do and don't like about it. So the
okay.
production, I thought is pretty great. You said it sounded like a well-recorded album. I would
Mhm.
agree with that. Even though it's a little heavy and hefty to listen to,
Mhm.
I think that is mainly because we're not into some of the heavier styles of music that compiles this particular album. All right, okay, let's start here. So when they start with the good, the bad, the leftover crack. Okay, 25 years ago when we were all much younger, I thought that was great. How do you feel about them doing that stuff live still? They're all like 60 years old, dude. Not 60, but they're like 10 years older than I am. I'm 44.
Mhm.
So like a lot of those guys weren't in the band originally that are playing now. They weren't in squats. They weren't homeless. They weren't drug addicted, to my understanding. This is just what I've been told. And if that's the case, good, because I mean, who wants people to have to go through that? But I find it odd that they're still starting shows out like that at this age when I think he's sober too, or at least is what I was hearing.
Mhm.
like I feel like this was at a time and place when it was needed, and like, dude, it's like Operation Ivy trying to do a reunion. Stop. You're a different band now. You're different people now. Play some of the hits, but be yourself. You don't have to show out for people. Like, just be yourself. I don't know. I find it odd, but that whole thing comes from this record. That's a spoken word part, like an intro part to this album.
Mm-hmm.
Starts off with Homeopathy, which I think it's fine. Nazi White Trash though, great song.
Mm-hmm.
Atheist Anthem, you probably know how I feel about that one. I'm at least a little bit religious, and the thing is that I mean, people do what they want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to judge you either, man. That's your life. You need some help, let me know. Otherwise, you want to talk about it, I will talk about it, but I'm not going to initiate that conversation. And then we got The Good, the Bad, Leftover Crack. Gay Rude Boys Unite is probably a standout track on the album for me. I love that song.
To me, that's the signature song, though. Like if you're gonna ask me what song is the song,
oh, interesting. That's definitely not what I would consider the signature song. Born to Die would be the signature song on this album, because that's the first one I heard. That was probably the biggest one on the whole record.
Probably a better choice. About maybe I should clarify. Like, you asked me what my favorite song on the album is. That's what it would be.
It's a coin toss between those two, man. They're both fantastic songs. Crack City Rockers is also pretty good. But it's got an interlude. I don't care about interludes. I think the album overall is a journey that I don't always want to go on. But I will say this. I used to really dislike some of the heavier stuff, and I listened to this again today to give it a fresh spin before we talked. I kind of like it a little more now than I used to. So I think this album has actually improved over the years for me and not gotten worse. I think I would give it a higher grade today than I would have even 2 years ago, much less 20 years ago. 25 years ago when it came out, I liked it okay. But I think I was angry that it wasn't Choking Victim, because I think Choking Victim had, by and large, a better cohesive album for me.
Yeah.
But I also used to just get them confused. So what does that say about it? What do I know? I don't know. This is a polarizing group, man. It's there's a lot of people that have like issues with it, and for good reason. There's a lot of people that just absolutely love it and want to just not think about the political stuff and the personal stuff, which is, I don't really do that often. So I but that's your prerogative. If that's how you want to listen to music, it's 100% up to you. Yeah, I just feel kind of weird talking about this band, because I got opinions that are going to get people upset, and it doesn't make sense, because I don't feel like I said anything really negative, but I haven't been like overwhelmingly positive either. And that's where you get in trouble, is if you don't kiss the ass of a band, you get told that you're a poser and you suck. So I'm already aware, guys. Don't worry. I already know. But I think it's a pretty good record. I need to look at the track list of the next album, because I think this album, I thought of this album title, but I think I was thinking of the track listing of the next record.
Oh no. And I'm afraid that might happen on the next one. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, okay. So which album, which of their albums do you think is more, well,
of these two? So I feel like I have a little bit more familiarity. Well, it's hard because, again, I do the same thing that you did at the beginning of this conversation. I associate this band more than anything of the band that Tim and Hellcat stood behind to get that next album out and kind of took all that controversy. Like, that's my big association with this band. This band was always kind of too cool for me. I feel like when I was a kid, because like that stuff sounds like that's like the real punk. I'm messing with like Rancid and stuff over here, which I had, again, a similar kind of appeal, and I thought that was cool. But like, I'm like 14 or whatever, so it's it has a little bit different, where the Op Ivy kind of appeals to me a little bit more.
Because when I first heard this, I thought this isn't punk. That's what I thought. As I was like, what is this? It's not punk. But I have been told many times I have a narrow definition of punk. So I hear you folks. You're probably right.
Yeah, and again, like, I thought this was kind of like this was so much of the cool kids kind of stuff. I say all that to say that I don't know, because when I have a familiarity with their songs, I kind of think, I guess, a little more of these songs. But again, I also get this confused with Choking Victim. So I say that to say that, like, when I think of this band, I think of the album cover of the next album is like what I associate with this band. But I always think that album is called Mediocre Generica. So what the hell do we know?
So I'm looking at No Gods, No Managers, the Choking Victim album. And if you combined the songs that are really good. Now, I think that Choking Victim album has a slightly higher ratio of like really good songs. man, it's got some bangers on it, dude. But if you take the 2 albums and get all the great songs off of them, you have a full album of just like nothing but like heavy hitters. And even take the stuff off of Fuck World Trade. I think they're one of those bands for me. Is that they're the bands that I like songs, not albums.
Yeah,
They're a mixtape band for me. But that doesn't mean that they're not worth listening to. The message that they have isn't worth adhering to. Is that the right way to say it? Adhering to?
yeah, like following. Yeah,
You know,
or listening.
what
No,
they have to say is important.
yeah,
But
it's
they're
just
also kind of like, I don't know, man. There's all because as much as we say there's a whole group of people that love this band, there's also those guys that are like, no, you can't take those dudes seriously. So they're like I said, they're very polar. Like they're a polarizing band. People either hate them or love them. There's not a lot of in between.
yeah, and I think to some extent with your art, sometimes that's what you're looking for. Like I don't know if that was their motivation, but like this stuff comes out.
I mean, I don't think they care what we think.
Right. And then you think about like this stuff, the next album, it actually came out on Alternative Tentacles and stuff like that. So like, I'm sure
There's a
Jello,
whole story behind that.
yeah, I'm sure Jello was just like, when you think about like how spoken word on your albums and all that stuff, this stuff is very, very much just in the tradition of a certain kind of punk though, for me, that I just can't separate from,
I'll say it like this. I think that all their ska sounds and all that stuff fits Hellcat about as good as you can fit Hellcat. But I think that this band is a better fit for Alternative Tentacles. Because while Rancid's my favorite band, I think that Alternative Tentacles is doing something different than what Tim and Hellcat are doing.
Well, it's more in that art space of
right,
punk.
and I think that Hellcat is a label that I like more, but Alternative Tentacles is a label that may have, basically it's more of an art house label where that they've got a message and they don't really care about anything but that. Whereas I think Hellcat is trying to bring you new music and get you interested in bands, but they also want to be able to make enough money to continue doing that. It is a business that is in business to bring you new music, but it's not there to lose money. Whereas I think Alternative Tentacles really doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I think Hellcat is more of curation, if you think about it.
That's what I was trying to articulate. Is this it's like curation with the intention of keeping it up, whereas
and the financial backing of the biggest independent label in history.
Right.
Whereas
so I mean, whenever they wanted to put Fuck World Trade with that image on the cover, and Tim was like, I don't know if we can do that, man. It's not because he wanted to like censor anybody. I think he was looking out for the interest of all the bands on his label, and like, and those guys just didn't want to hear it. And look, everybody's entitled to their own opinion on that. I think it makes no sense to be like, oh, well, fuck you, I'm out of here then. Like I personally want as many people to see my artwork as possible. So I will go about doing things in a way that will achieve those goals versus just being, well, I want to be like this, so I'm going to do this, my success be damned. And I think that that's real short-sighted.
Right. And I hate that now I'm getting more identifiable with like people in management positions as I'm getting older though. But like, I can understand though, even like in my line of work, that like sometimes I got to be a little tough on one because you got to protect all of them. And if you're like the guy who runs the label, you do have to consider, all of them that you're trying to cultivate, that you're trying to bring up, that you got their careers in your hands. And so like, that's what, like we say in our line of work, that's what you get the hugs and handshakes for. So you have to make those kind of tough decisions.
Right. Well, like, I would say that what you and I both do is, I don't know if of equal importance is accurate. I think what you do might be a little more important than what I do, but not by much.
It's more official. It's just more official.
Well, because I would say it's maybe a little more important, but not by a lot, because what I'm doing is I'm supporting our direct community and I'm supporting bands. I'm getting music in the kids' hands, but you're teaching people, and that's important.
It comes from the same motivation. It's 100%.
That's what I was getting at, is that we both have the same ideas behind what we're doing. You're working from within inside the system to try to hopefully improve it, but also if you can't improve the system, at least you can take the people that are going to be the future system and improve them. And that's necessary, man.
It's
getting music out there and getting art out there.
But I need to sort of, and it's not about like marketing people directly to any one thing, because there's plenty of what I work with. You put them into whatever it is that fits them. But the idea is it like if I, like the end of that movie, The F Word, which is more about being a parent, but it's the same kind of concept where it's like, okay,
I love that.
There's all these, and I think Jim said there's all these ways to change the world, and we all thought we were going to do them all these ways. And he said, like, from the parent perspective, well, the best thing I can kind of do is maybe just like put better people into that world to try to, so they can have it. And like, I've been struggling with this in general. And it's sort of relevant to what we're saying. It's like, I'm like, oh man, is everything bad now? It's like, no, everything's not bad now. It's just my turn to try to fix it. And so I'm going to think that it's going to be bad now, because it's like, everyone's their own main character. Right. So it's all going to feel like that. And I'm just glad that, like, we're having this as a shadow conversation. Cause like, I think I've told you, it's kind of funny. Like, my son thought I was a sellout whenever I, got my degree and got my job and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, because like, he understood punk rock as I sort of would present it in like, a very generic way of thinking. I'm like, no, I did this because like, I hate the man and I'm tired of working for him and I want to do my own thing and I want to make my own choice. Now there's a certain amount of like opportunities that were afforded to me at the exact right time that weren't there prior or might not have been after. And so I took advantage of those. So it kind of is what it is, but like, that's the motivation. And I think it's, strangely enough, it could be the same motivation that, Leftover Crack essentially has with what they're doing, but us 100%, it is the same motivation you and I have with what we're doing. Cause we're both kind of, I think not necessarily righting wrongs, but like we try to present ourselves as adults that we wish other teenagers like ourselves would have interacted with, or 100%. Like model yourself off of those people. And I think part of our job then is to moderate, like, okay, what's the deal with a band like this? Is it kind of cool for kids? Not that we're gatekeepers. We've just kind of been around the block for a minute. So, by the nature of years, we have that sense. I got very lectury in there because there was a few thoughts coming together, but
it's okay. Together. It's okay. I mean, well, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And I want to move on to the next album here in a few minutes, but like, I like their music, man. I think one of the best shows I ever went to was a Leftover Crack show. Mm-hmm. It was in a house in Pasadena, Texas. I can't remember what year it was. It was probably somewhere around this time. And it was shoulder to shoulder, sweaty, stinky punk kids. And it was awesome. They played in the living room on the floor. And there was some stuff that happened at that show, like some violence, like there was some fights and stuff but it was like, it was one of the most like raw punk rock experiences of my life, as far as being around music's concerned, anyways.
That sounds awesome, by the way. Like, it was stuck in a living room, like at a living room show for this band.
For as much shit as these guys have started and as much drama as they're surrounding this guy or whatever, that shit was so badass. And for a time, everybody liked this band. I don't want to hear from nobody. I didn't like Leftover Crack, Choking Victim. Yeah, you did. We all did. All of us. Every one of us. Stop it. You're not that fucking cool, man. Like, they do it with a lot of bands, and it drives me nuts. But I gotta say, man, I enjoyed the album more than I thought I was gonna. I actually picked it because I thought it'd be an interesting conversation, because I thought there was gonna be a lot that I didn't really like about it. There's a couple of tracks I could do without. I don't really care for the interlude, but by and large, I like the album more now than I did when it came out.
Which doesn't usually happen for albums that are kind of long and stuff like that. Usually we have
Well, the thing is it's not really that long, but dude, here's the thing. I'll say it like this. I keep saying, here's the thing. I don't know why I keep doing it.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah. I think that now, depending on my mood, I could do one of two things. I could go and listen to this album as a specific journey through art, or I could pick them up and do the mixtape thing with them. And depending on my mood, I think more often I will probably choose to do the mixtape thing. But when I want to take this journey, there's nothing else like this out there. There's other bands that try to do this and they don't do it as well. I've heard a bunch of those. They call it Crack Rock City. I've heard a bunch of Crack Rock City bands, and none of them are as good as the stuff SZA does. So, hate him or love him, he does a lot of great artwork. And there's a lot of guys that are like that they're kind of polarizing figures, and they're maybe not the best humans or whatever. And I think that his problems aren't quite as what's the word I'm looking for here, hot button topic as some of the others, but there is work to be done there, and I think there's improvements to be made in his behavior. But I'm only speaking from what I hear, and I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I think the album's pretty good, man. And it was weird because it did transport me back to a simpler time in my life. I listened to it and I went right back to being a young skateboarding punk. And I thought, damn, those days were good, man. 2001, bro. I was 19, man. I was skateboarding around with a mohawk. I had 2 jobs. They were both part-time, but I made ends meet. I basically did what I wanted then as much as I do now, or more. I lived in a house with some punk kids. I had a couple different girlfriends here and there. I, got laid a little bit, did a little drinking, had a little fun, smoked a little pot. Just like I wasn't really into hard drugs yet at that point in my life. I got that a few years later. So like I was really living like
enjoying like a young person.
Yeah, smoked cigarettes. I thought it was cool.
Of
Got a
course.
couple of cool
I mean,
tattoos.
they are cool. They're not good for you, but they are cool.
Honestly, they are cool, man. You look pretty cool smoking cigarettes. But like,
stupid decision, but it looks cool.
Right. I had a good time listening to this band, and it sent me back to that. So for that reason, I got to say I enjoyed the record. I enjoyed it because I think it's actually quite good. I think people are going to give it more shit than they need to, and people are going to also praise it more than they should. It's not a perfect record, and they're not a perfect band. They're not the best band in the world. But they did start something that I think is pretty awesome. It's wholly unique to basically their sound. If you're out there and you got a bunch of bands like this that you know of, send me a list, man. I want to discover some more. I might know of some of them, but I guarantee you're going to know some I don't because
there might be really good stuff in the genre, but it's so obscure that like you could just never heard of it.
Right. Anyways, what do you think of the album as a whole piece of art? What kind of grade do you give it?
Probably in that 8 range, because I do think the quality of what it is, if you take it on its own terms, I think that's what it is. From a listenability, I mean that'd be like the lowest rating I could give something that I like. It'd be like that 4 or 5, because I don't think it's very listenable as we do as a straight album grade. On that objective grade, it's actually lower than the subjective grade. But that doesn't really speak to the quality as well as that should, because it's
an interesting take with the objective being lower than
I think it's cooler than it's actually good, if that makes sense, even though I think it's made very well.
Because I would go the opposite and say that I like it less than I think it's objectively good, because I think it's objectively pretty good.
But it's also made well. Yeah. I think it's just hard to determine what it's supposed to like. And I said like we just had an hour-long conversation of figuring that out.
Right.
And I guess I've got nowhere with my determination. You said it's a polar. Like I don't think of the polarization with this band and that album as much, but as we're even talking it out, even our discussion is somewhat polarizing because it's hard to.
I would say objectively it's probably like a 9 out of 10. Subjectively, I'll give it like a 7.5. Like I like it. Like I probably would have given it somewhere between a 5 and 6 a couple years ago. I do like it more now. Now that could change. I could like it less than a year. Who knows? But today, really, I think because I was doing a lot of work and I was sweating and I was tired, but I was happy because I was doing work I love, and I created this opportunity for myself, and I took the chances, and I made some right choices, and I didn't know if I could do that. And this band kind of represents that. They did what they wanted. They were successful at it. Nobody else is really doing what they did to the degree they're doing it. So like, it just felt, and it also sent me back in time and made me remember some fond days of my youth and these really cool things I did when I was a young man. I had a lot of fun back then. And those are some hard times, but great days. Hard days with great times is probably the better way to say it. But yeah, interesting album, man. Leftover Crack, Mediocre, Generica. I have a feeling that we're going to probably get a lot of fans of theirs in the comments that really like this. So tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it, please. But give me other bands that sound like this, and we will revisit Fuck World Trade at some point in the near future. Maybe we revisit it, not really worry about a date of anniversary or something. We'll just talk about it to talk about it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good one to just find an anniversary date. That feels
we could do Fuck World Trade, and we could do Choking Victim. That would be a good twofer, because you could see how they changed over the course of like some actual years.
Well, we'll have to re-record that like 6 times to make it monetizable for YouTube.
Bro, yeah, 100%. Oh, that's funny, dude. All right, let's move on.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what we can do while I'm looking this up. Today is the 23rd birthday for Rancid Indestructible. We got there, sir. We got a Rancid convo in on the pod.
We were about to have probably a few more on this next band anyway. So
that's
23 years. Like, okay, I remember so specifically the whole rollout of this album because this was my Rancid album this was my Rancid album. The AP cover, the hood, wearing the hoodie the second day of school because I got it at the Warped Tour, the Indestructible hoodie that I still have over. That was 23 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? I remember it like it was yesterday.
Fill some time on it really quick, and I will bring you a hoodie from 23 years ago. Like, it'll take me a minute.
Yeah, hell yeah. Go grab it. Dude, I have 3 different copies of this on vinyl, and I'll take another handful of them. I love this record. I remember very clearly what I was doing when I got a hold of it. This one changed my life too. It all the stuff that Tim and everybody was going through, I was going through similar things. So this album touched me in a way that records don't often get me in my heart. It was cool, man. There's I'll talk with Rob about it for a minute, and I don't want to make this conversation too long because this is supposed to be about a different album entirely. But Indestructible is an important record for the band. It's also an important record for me and my friends. This 2003. So, okay, 2003, I was 21 years old. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So 2003, I was 21. This album came out when I was like freshly able to go to the bar. I had had a really bad breakup with a very long relationship. And man, this album healed me, dude. Over the summer of 2003, I guess towards the fall, I listened to this album to death. I know this album probably as much as I know any other Rancid album. Plus, I was so scared to get this record because Rancid 5 was the record before this.
Oh, and
So I was
that
like, oh no,
traumatized
what is
you.
this going to be like? And then I got it and I was looking at the cover. I was like, oh, it looks a little much like this Rancid 5 record does. And then I hit play and his Indestructible is the opener's real fast. And I was like, oh man. And then the second track's not. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then they slow down. And then there's these ebbs and flows. There's these different kinds of music. Like, I'm making a video right now where I'm in the process of writing the notes for the top 10 genre blending bands within like punk.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of that because of two things. Actually, three, but they all revolve around this. I was literally doing research for this show, the one with Nitty, and I was thinking about Indestructible. And all this show, Leftover Crack would be on this list. Indestructible's on this list. And then talking about some of the bands that I'm going to talk about with Nitty, one of them being Bigwig, will make that list as well because Rancid blends genres about as good as anybody can do it. And yeah, I just want to celebrate that record for a minute. I love it. Let me see this hoodie you got, buddy.
So here it is. This is straight from the Warped Tour 2003.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What size is that?
Let's see. Wow, it's
large.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Okay, I can still wear it. Cool. Or no, extra large. Actually, be a
it's extra large.
Extra large, yeah.
It's probably huge. I wear a small hoodie these days.
Yeah. So that was the album cycle just took forever, and come to find out, it was because of Robert passing away and Tim's divorce that delayed that album. But I remember waiting a whole year for the album, not knowing much about it. You know, getting the Rolling Stone cover in the mail, just like all the, I was exactly the demographic that album, not the old heads, that album like was probably actually thought of in mind, but the people that it was marketed to was, I think, the pop punk kids that were either ready for something else or had discovered something else or needed kind of like a return. And for me, it's just like, again, kind of like this other band, Rancid was just so damn cool. They were the coolest punk band. I liked them. That was my first punk album. I was into this. So Warped Tour, obviously all my money went to the Rancid booth, like most of all. And I was like, oh, I think that's the new album. Let me get that. And then I specifically remember, I always say this, I didn't know that the singer of the Transplants was the guy that actually introduced Rancid. I didn't snap that was the same dude. That's always a memory of that show. But the other thing was like, this is our song for my new album. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, again, I didn't have the context of, I didn't like Rancid 5 as much because of it was a different style of Rancid. To me, that was still more of baseline Rancid along with Wolves and all that. But then hearing that song, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. This is going to be great. And then I think my next memory was going to school and the people were playing the radio and Red Hot Moon was on not even like the alternative station. It was on like the Soccer Mom rock station.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what is going on with that? It just, I don't know if it was like a cool DJ or what was going on or, you know, but like that somehow crossed over into that radio station. And I was like, what world is this? Also, it's the second day of school. We're here in New Mexico. It's hot as hell. And I'm wearing a hoodie because I wanted an excuse to wear my Rancid thing that I got at the Warped Tour over the summer.
I remember thinking that Fall Back Down was so corny, but also like really loving it.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by that. It's a corny song, but I think it's necessary to be that kind of corny. I think if it was real serious in tone, it wouldn't be as good. The fact that it's like a bro hymn song is perfect.
Well, what I do is like I'll hang with people that are kind of have all my same cultural taste, but maybe weren't as into punk and they're slightly younger. So they're like, "Who's your favorite band?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're into punk. I'm into punk. Who do you like?" And they tell me their bands. I'm like, "Oh, okay, those are the children's bands." And I've always thought I'm in the children's category, but I'm like, yeah, I like NoFX, Pennywise. I'm not saying, and like when I say Rancid, they're like, "Oh yeah, they're that Fall Back Down song, right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they actually know more of Rancid than I give those people credit for. But like that's the song where people, "Oh yeah, I know that one," and it'll connect them. And like I can never appreciate. I think because I didn't have MTV, I never knew what was popular and what wasn't. Because
Right.
I was like the only one at my school that listened to whatever it was. So like if it could be a super pop punky thing that I didn't realize was this big hit, because I was the only one that liked it and it was related to my stuff, it might as well have been leftover crack to me in that kind of way, you know.
The album was so good, or is so good. I
Gets
like
better
some of the
too.
songs,
Like
Tropical London.
I've gone through phases of like, that album's not as good. Like, yes, it is. Like, that's just a hot take. Like, I think whenever I try to dismiss it.
Every album does that though. Like all the albums that we love do exactly that. Let's see. Yeah, dude. Indestructible, Fall Back Down, Red Hot Moon, David Courtney. They're all, it's just so good, dude. Arrested in Shanghai. Memphis is one I really like. Ghost Band, Tropical London. This album is so good.
There's no way. I wish there was like, I wish like one of these tech oligarchs can do a mind reader and you and I can do a competition of like name the song based on the lyric of this album. I wonder how we would, I wonder if there's a way, like I need me versus you on this one.
That would be, you might beat me on that one.
But yeah, I don't know. I did get this album at a younger age too. So it would have been this album specifically might have been more, you know, imprinted on a mind that didn't have as many things on it as you know, like less cool things going on. Like this next album we're actually going to talk about, I associate with literally the crate in my room with the speaker on. It was kind of reminding me of what you were saying, is I can kind of visually see for this next album, those things, but like that was a fun time, but also like, man, I mean, I wasn't that cool. Like I was the coolest kid maybe in my town, but you know, it's like
I was definitely not cool. Never been cool in my life.
And I say coolest kid in my town. Like that's from, if I was judging my town, I would say I was the coolest kid in my town.
Okay. Then yes, I was awesome.
Yeah. I always try to think I'm just hipper than everyone else just because I like crap that other people don't. But that doesn't make me hipper. That just makes me weird.
Yeah, it's okay. What are your favorite songs on this album? Give me your top 3 real quick.
Off of the other one that we were
off Indestructible.
Okay, off Indestructible. I don't have it pulled up. Let's go with all you motherfuckers criminals will be. Okay, and then what's that one at the end?
David Courtney.
Yeah. Alpha Sweat, they were profiting youth, they were robbing, they grind you down to the ground. We've all got a big dream now. New factory just shut down. I can't think of the name of the Back Up Against the Wall.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say that because that's one of my favorites, and I was trying to make sure that was the right song.
And then I would say Saturday. Where else are you gonna go? Yeah. There we go.
I like Tropical London a lot.
Good spot too with Ghost Band where it comes on the album.
Yeah, Tropical London.
Those are kind of a pair.
Back Up Against the Wall and Fall Back Down are probably my top 3 on that album.
The other side is very cool, the way that closes too, with the tribute to Robert. I think
they always have really great closers though.
The older closers sound like these galloping, like we'll see you later. I mean, on Rancid 5, they literally say we'll see you next time.
Man, I hate that I've come around so much on that record, dude.
You know, you need to just hold the line, dude. I don't care if I don't care if your real feelings have changed. That is your brand, and I'm gonna need you to just stick to that.
Yeah, I still get called a poser pretty regularly about it.
Well, I mean, you're really committed to the bit with all these face tattoos. I'm just saying, as a poser. I found posers in the wild the other day, and to be fair, they were like 15. I just recognized them as, because I was like, yeah, you're 15. Of course, you're a poser. Like you're in the same town I came from, but I just recognized like the newness of their new school clothes, but it was clearly like bought at like whatever the hot topic is of their day. And they were like at the Circle K, and they were like trying to be annoying, but also like knew the worker there who was like, you know, like their friend's mom or whatever. And I was like, let the tradition of being a poser like continue. Like I bestow my poserness onto you. I almost wanted to say to them, but also scowled at them as like the adult who just wanted to get my Coke.
Dude, for real, yes, I'm such an old shit these days.
Okay, a benefit of my job is there's a certain license to be old and curmudgeonly, and like people are like, yeah, well, then what do you expect? That's also true. Being bald helps too, by the way.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that these days. Yeah, my hair, this is as long as it gets now.
I just put on the hat because I felt like I was having like a lame face day, so I thought the hat kind of ties it.
I only took mine off because I'm so fucking hot in here.
Yeah. I'm also
like radiating heat, and I was like, get this fucking hat off.
I'm also committed to a contrast with you visually in every way on this stream.
Yep, dude, good and evil. I guess I'm the devil right now because
you're literally burning.
Dude, sucks. All right. Let's see what I think this one was in July. So in July of 2001, we get Tiger Army 2, Ghost Tigers. Is it Arise or Rise?
This isn't Power of Moonlight?
Oh shit, I'm tripping, dude. That's 3.
I've been panicked since you introed that the promo that I listened
Dude, why
to the
didn't
wrong
you say
album.
something, dude? Yeah, Power of
Well,
Moonlight.
because
Sorry, it is.
it's a better podcast if we just keep that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Tiger Army 2, The Power of Moonlight. And I'm tripping because that's one of my favorite songs that they even sing is the title track off this album. But I'm also just hot and tired and yeah. Sorry. So in July of 2001, we got Tiger Army 2, The Power of Moonlight. Why did I say Ghost Tiger?
I couldn't. I had all 3 of these albums. I feel like I got them in a 3-pack in 2001. I don't know how I got an album that came out in 04 and 01, but I feel like I did. So I got you.
Well, okay. I don't even know how to start talking about this record. This is probably more popular than it had any business getting. Because it's rockabilly. Like psychobilly.
Yeah, but it's
emo Billy.
Okay, this is literally 3 great bands. Or okay, Tiger Army's the 3rd band, but this is like Tiger Army plus AFI plus Rancid. Like we put those 3 entities together, they make pretty good music regardless.
Yeah.
And so I think whatever the appeals of this are just so like however these songs were written. I don't care what genre they would have been in. We've talked a lot tonight about things that appeal to guys like us, like whatever that is, like that's whatever this album is kind of a perfect formula for me on how songs can kind of sound. But again, I think it's because all my favorite songwriters kind of contributed to this. So it's like,
well,
it's so much in my soup of things I just personally like.
Here's what I'll say. I'll say it like this. I think that this band, specifically Tiger Army, was the biggest beneficiary of the 2000s like goth and emo explosion.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get as big as the other bands, but this band would have been nowhere near as popular if it wasn't for AFI and My Chemical Romance. If those 2 bands hadn't been popular, this band would have never existed the way it did.
I disagree on. I don't think My Chemical Romance has anything to do with Tiger Army's popularity. I think they came and went before My Chemical Romance even got on the scene.
Nah, dude, tripping.
3 Cheers comes out in 04. Tiger Army 3 comes out in 04. Like I just don't think that those correlate at all.
Yeah, but I don't think that Tiger Army was as big until way after all that. Like they got
then I missed their second wave because I remember this time and their status that I didn't know there was a second. And I'm saying that legitimately. I didn't know there was like I didn't know they've taken on this other life past when it was kind of happening.
I can accept that MCR has little to nothing to do with it, but I still maintain that statement is accurate though. Like
the other half of that 1,000%. Yeah.
So like I think that because I think that their albums and shirts were around more than I'm not talking about their live show because I don't know what they were doing around 04, 05, 06, 07 because I wasn't listening to them at that point. But I saw a lot of their shirts around then. A lot of their albums were popping up in like record stores and things and like resale bins, like used albums. You'd see them all the time. I don't think that would have been as big and as popular and wouldn't have sold as many units without those bands being as big as they were, or bands like those bands. Let's say Green Day's second run and AFI stuff and just that stuff starting to become popular. Even like Radio Rock Emo Thursday, Hawthorne Heights, and all that stuff. That created a dark undertone in alternative music, which is what this has. So insert whatever bands you want. AFI is definitely going to be one of them because AFI is directly related to this band. But I think that they're the biggest beneficiary of that because of how big they got. I think otherwise they wouldn't have been because they have music that's not historically that popular outside of like the Stray Cats.
But do you? I don't think it's that inaccessible though. I just think like the way they deliver it seems a little weird at first, but like so do the Dropkick Murphys. And I don't really make a distinction. Like I think they just do different ways of delivering this. Not the same.
No, these guys have a stand-up bass, and
I just think it's the same amount of weird as like the Dropkick Murphys. If you like, I don't think it deviates that much.
I
from everything else
because I think the Dropkick Murphys is at its core a mixture of just punk in traditional Irish music, which is going to cover a lot of ground. This is like Halloween and rockabilly, 2 things that, are both very like Halloween's popular, sure, for one night a year. The rest of the year, only a select few people are into Halloween all year. Rockabilly is not popular at all, man. Like,
well, rockabilly is like hilariously unpopular.
That's
in
right
that
what I'm
way.
saying.
Yeah. I just think in turn, I don't know. I guess I always thought like the psychobilly and like all of that stuff and all of this stuff was just that kind of flavor of punk. I guess I never put the thought of it really being connected to anything else in that way. And I never thought of Tiger. Always thought of Tiger Army as being like when we went through this, I was like, that's the band that for me was lost to time, but not because I didn't like them. It's just like literally because probably the CD didn't survive like a couple of moves. And for me, they didn't stick around in consciousness in any way after that time. Like I said, if I have missed that, then I have missed that because to me, they kind of just exist. I don't think they ever really went away, but they exist as a band that was like kind of happening when these Hellcat bands were really happening. And then for me, they sort of faded when that kind of faded to the extent that it did. But like, I will say like around here, not so much Tiger Army, but bands like Necromantics and those ones are always touring around here. Like that's a pretty like healthy cycle around here. I just don't think it's that disconnected from fans. Like if you were fans of that general Hellcat sound or fans of the AFI or fans of the Misfits, I just don't think it's that far removed from any of that stuff. In fact, I think it sounds a lot like Social Distortion, even in that kind of stuff.
I don't.
I think it's very related to that stuff.
I think it has more in common with AFI maybe than any of the others. But this is all romantic music. This doesn't have hardly anything to do with the Misfits. I don't connect it with the Misfits very much, like a little bit, based solely on the fact of the darker imagery. And
well,
stuff.
I do with the singing, and I think the singing. Yeah. I think there's a Glenn Danzig and the that Davey Havoc does.
That Nick Davey Havoc, not a Glenn Danzig.
Well, but I think Davey would say he kind of stole that from Danzig.
Maybe Davey's far better at it.
Well, I mean, Davey's.
I consider it like I don't really feel like Danzig ever did that much of the. He did like he sang like Elvis, but he didn't do like the almost yodeling, yelping sound. Davey definitely has his own sound, but it is connected to Misfits because of the underlying like spooky nature of.
But I also think it's also connected to 50s music too. That's also the connection I make to like the Misfits and all that. So I think all that stuff is sort of connected to that sort of original rock and roll kind of sound.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think we're hearing it different.
I think we literally have a different perspective of how we experience or know.
I mean, I used to be pretty deep into this stuff, and I listened to a lot of it. And this band has its own sound. There is no other bands that I can think of that sound like Tiger Army. There's a few bands that have a song or two that might resemble it a little bit, but by and large, they are more of a emo band than they are anything else. Like they're a psychobilly emo band. Most of those bands were like a lot grimier. They had a lot more gross out lyrics. This guy's had a lot of romantic stuff and a lot of pretty songs. I mean,
but that's why I think they fit in just fine with like the Epitaph level crew. Like that's exactly why.
I never said they didn't fit in with that. That's not.
But to me, that's why I don't think they're this big outlier even within that. I think they're just as weird in that crew. That was the point I was making. They're just as weird in that crew as like the Dropkick Murphys are. Like they're different, but to me, it makes sense that appeal to the same kid. To the same.
I don't agree at all.
That to me, that just makes sense.
I know a lot of people that like one band and not the other. I know a lot of people that like.
True, but I just think like if you are a fan of this kind of music, it wasn't that hard to like Tiger Army. Is my general point. Like if wait, by this kind of music, no, because you were saying no one else benefited from like the post emo wave coming up more so than Tiger Army. I would say no. Tiger Army benefited from like skate punk taking off and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't say.
I think they benefited way more from the emo stuff.
I think their stuff was settled and done, and they were settled into where they were in their career when that stuff became a cultural force.
Sure. I don't know. I disagree. But
I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're
at. I don't care enough to argue about it in the fucking hot room I'm sitting in. But regardless of all that, because I think out of all the Hellcat stuff, this is the one that stuck out the most. This and maybe Necromantics, the two that stuck out the very most. And for me, they're not even the similar bands. They're so different.
Like hey, what's Hellcat? What's a mid-level, like a perfect representation of Hellcat? This album and Tiger Army, I said
that's fucking crazy to me because I would say ska before I say this. Yeah, I don't think this. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. But whatever. If you asked 100 people, we'd probably get 100 different answers.
We should do that in the heat that you're in right now. Just get.
I'm just saying, like genuinely, I think if we asked a whole bunch of kids, we get a bunch of different answers. So, I don't think it really makes a big difference. I just had an idea that I thought made a lot of sense. because this band is so just they're such an emo band, and all the
Mhm.
girls like this band. That's what I'm saying though. Like this band, it reached further than just a bunch of punk kids, man. And I think that's
I
because
agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I just don't think that it was necessarily tied to what you were tying it to. That was my only, but I agree with what your general point though. Like I knew normies that were into this. Like they invited me to the Tiger Army show that they didn't go to because they just thought it was like cool from that perspective.
I don't know how to respond to that.
No, so I'm saying I agree with you. We can talk about the songs.
Yeah, we haven't had like an actual disagreement in quite some time.
No, yeah, what the heck? This is more vintage.
So, we used to have hella fun arguing though.
Yeah.
So this is one of the weird bands that I think I might like their slow, like romantic songs better than their fast songs. That's not common. I usually like the faster, more
Yeah.
upbeat, more angry, aggro stuff far, far better than the slower, more ballady type things. But they do the ballady stuff better than any band I've heard that's in this kind of genre. This either, let's say, from all the way from rockabilly all the way through to psychobilly. I don't know a band that does like the romantic ballad better than this. These guys kill it, dude. I really liked those songs from back when this came out all the way still today. Still listening to the album over the last few days. I still like those songs the best.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would say I actually like the slower ones better, but I think I like the mid tempo ones. I think of it, I'm looking at the like Incorporeal. I kind of consider as like that's like when I think of this album, Incorporeal is the song I immediately think of, and I think that has like a nice like galloping kind of pace to it.
Well, I would consider that one of the slow songs though.
FTW is the one that has stood out for me. I want to say I had that song on a single.
I don't like that song. No. In the Orchard though, that's probably my favorite song on the record.
And then what about Annabelle Lee to further your point about that emo connection? Yeah, that one.
Cupid's Victim.
That was pretty on the nose.
Title track is really a good song. Power of Moonlight is a fantastic song. The album's strong. I will say that it does this. Okay, so out of the two records, they're both like very much a unique sound for that period of time. I think this one's a little more dated than the Leftover Crack album, even though I like it better. Like as a whole piece of art, this is a better album to me, but it also feels stuck in 2001 more than Leftover Crack does. I don't know why that is. Maybe because Leftover Crack still plays a little bit. They still tour, so they're still kind of like active, I guess.
Around, yeah.
Isn't really doing all that. So I think of them in more than just being an album. I go, oh, I remember this band. Not so, oh yeah, I'm going to go see this band, you know?
Yeah, I think I have this from a fandom perspective. I have the same sort of perspective in that, like when I think of like when you text me this, like other than we talk about Tiger Army, I don't think about them. But it has nothing to do with me not liking them. I just kind of don't think about it. I saw them like 3 times, I want to say, and twice was with Rancid, kind of in support, and one other time by themselves. And so they were a band that was really big for me at that time. And then like kind of once it went away, whereas like Choking Victim, Leftover Crack, that's just been more newsworthy and noteworthy over the years, so it stayed a little bit more in my head. If I'm judging the sounds, though, I actually have the inverse take. Whereas to me, this music sounds a little more timeless because it sounds more like timeless pop music to me in that sort of way. Whereas the Leftover Crack stuff sounds very much like the early 2000s and the blending of musics together.
Interesting.
Which you can argue is a more modern sound. Like that could make your point, but I think in terms of maybe I'm like the more timeless, because I'm thinking of a more accessible, maybe replicatable thing where I think the Leftover Crack is a sort of one-of-one, even if we've said another pair band that they pair with, but
yeah, it is funny how much they kind of go together. Like these two albums, they're very different, but they also kind of fit together. I think that's the Hellcat thing. The Hellcat stuff, man.
That's Hellcat, the curation we were talking about, right?
Yeah. But I think that the album still holds up. It's still a good record, but it takes a lot more. Maybe it's just because I don't listen to this kind of music as much. It takes a lot more for me to get into this kind of band than some ska punk would. But yeah, I don't know. I do enjoy it though. How does this one feel as long as the other album? Because it is long.
For me, and this is longer, right?
I believe so.
Wise. Yeah, for me, this one flows. But I also, in terms of repeated exposures, like I said, when I hear this album, I literally see that crate in my room. Like I did listen to this quite a bit, I think, like looking back. Like I you know, that's how it was with CDs. What you had is what
Right.
you listened to, and I had all
Right.
three of these. So like I just listened to this a lot. So like this feels a lot more imprinted on my brain, and I know that's the case because I haven't listened to it in like 15 years, and it just felt a lot more imprinted when I listened to it.
I remember when it came out, I had a truck that didn't have very good brakes, but I remember it had a CD player. And I used to wear a pompadour, bro. I remember
Mhm.
living with Gabe from Pride Kills, and we were both in the bathroom greasing our hair. And I remember having to wash my hair like 4 or 5 times before I go get a haircut because they didn't want me to come in with grease in my
With all
hair.
that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, those are the good old days, man. I got a lot of fond memories with both of these albums. This one as well, you know.
I used to think I looked like the guys from Tiger Army right after I'd get a haircut. Like if I'd get the like, I think it was like the military style haircut, but I didn't know. But like when the guy would cut my hair just right, and I'd be like in the Rancid shirt for like those next day and a half, I looked like I was in Tiger Army. At least I felt like that.
Man, all the girls liked this guy.
I mean,
Probably still do. He's a pretty bastard.
he is. And then we also gave him credit for that part in the AFI song properly a few months ago. So.
Yes. So I wonder what their connection to AFI is because they sounded to me when I first heard this band, I thought, damn,
Well,
it's like a rockabilly AFI.
Well, if you look at this, so they did like they think they literally lived together, like they all lived in the same spot
So
with
just homies then.
the Nerve Agents as well. But if you look
Man,
at
that band's
Tiger
so
Army,
good, bro.
the two main guys on this album, Nick 13, Jeff Kresge. Well, Jeff Kresge is the bass player on the first two AFI albums. Remember that bass player on the first, not Hunter, who's there, or the other guy. So Jeff Kresge is the guy on Answer That and Stay Fashionable. We talked about how great the bass is. Well, that's the same bass player.
Okay.
So, and then when you look at the guest,
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, so that's like they're kind of they sort of grow almost out of in the way that you know you could say Leftover Crack and Choking Victim have so much of the shared DNA. I think you can make an argument that AFI and Tiger Army also have a lot of that shared DNA, and all of it was taken under the Rancid wing, both from a label perspective and I think from a personal perspective, taking them out on tour, all of that. So both of these bands were very much underneath that Rancid umbrella, and so it's all very connected for me in that way. And I think sound wise, especially like if you look at the first AFI albums, like the hardcore stuff, yes, but in particular, like the stuff I like, which is like the Halloween era AFI, right before they went super big. I think that time period stuff is the stuff that sounds most like Tiger Army, and because it's literally being produced by the same people at the same time. And you go even deeper, you look at the executive producers on it, and it's Andy Ernst who did all the East Bay stuff. Tim Armstrong has a big say in all of this. Like it's all kind of the same guys making some of the same stuff. So it would make sense that it would sound very, very similar. It just AFI went on to do something else that was much kind of on a different scale than all these other bands, but they're from this exact, literally the same house.
I would say that part of it is that they have different styles but similar melodies, and their vocal style is the same. Is the Nerve Agents, is that part of that same crew?
Well, the Nerve Agents is specifically who I know that Davey and I think Jade, who's the guitarist later on in AFI, they lived there, and that's the time that he was always collaborating with Nick 13. I want to say like the story about them collaborating on the song we were talking about, like that was probably in that house. So I don't know where the Nerve Agents actually fit into that. I just know that was like the house.
Damn. Nerve Agents is another band that I really like. We got to do a Nerve Agents video one of these days.
We need to do some of these more obscure bands that all of our bands are sort of with all the time, but less people talk about. Nerve Agents are kind of in that zone. And Tiger Army is kind of in that zone to some extent.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nerve Agents, though, I have their records in the store. I love that band. That band's awesome, dude. There was a band in Houston called the Phantom Pains, and they were basically like our Nerve Agents. They sounded just like them, man. I thought they were just as good.
You guys got good music over there. Like the more I keep finding, like now when it says Houston, it just flags in my brain. Like, oh, that's where he's from. We had good, like all around, like multiple genres, but the harder stuff.
Good bands, man. We've had some real good horror punk bands. We got two right now, the Necrotones and Treacy and the Phantom Punks. They're both like active bands, and they're both really, really good. Shout out Corey, that's my guy, man. He plays in Necrotones.
I feel like if you're gonna do punk in Texas, what I've learned is you kind of got to be all in, because like even though you're in a populated place, you are sort of, I think about like the MDC tradition and some of those guys, like all that comes out of Texas, because like I mean, I get it over here, but we're not on that scale that you guys are on. Like you guys are literally big tech, so you're trying to be punk over there. It's probably a lot easier to be punk in California than it has to be in Texas.
Yes. I mean, I'm 44 and punk's been going my whole life, and I still get funny ass looks walking into a store because people are like, "What's that guy into?" I'm like, "Really, dude? Have you never heard of a punk rock band before?" But it is interesting. Whenever I talk to people in my neighborhood, I find out how small punk still is. We think of punk as this big thing. It's not. Man.
I always do too. Like, and it's weird because I'm so into it. You're so into it, and it the things that we've done on the internet reach so many people. It's like there's no way that's that big or that because it's bigger than I think it is, but not as big as I guess I would like to think it is, or I don't know because I also don't want it to get that big.
It's pretty insane.
Jeez.
Yeah, man. Do you have a favorite Tiger Army album? Uh-oh. Froze up.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go. No, you're good. I was like, oh no.
I knocked the thing off the connection. I was like, they're gonna think you kicked me off.
Do you have a favorite Tiger Army album? Because I think this is probably mine.
Probably this one. Like if you were asking me before we did this, I would say the middle one. So that'd be the one with Incorporeal, I would say is the one.
The first album is also real strong.
And there is, I think, another sort of like EP sort of offbeat one that I had when I was a kid. I'm always
is that like the green background?
Green, yes. Yeah. That one is also the songs on there. And they might be collections of other versions of these, but like that's also very I used to really get down with this band like a lot, like as a teenager.
I forgot how good they were. I'll give them that. I forgot how good this band was. I think my issue with it is I don't really care for stand-up bass. It's just not my shit, man. I don't like it. I used to like it kind of. I'm just kind of over it. And
yeah, I can see that.
This is a good band to listen to in the fall, though.
It's on the playlist, right?
When it's nighttime and you're driving through a neighborhood, you can see like little pumpkins and stuff. Throw on a Tiger Army album; it'll make you happier.
That stand-up bass will be creepy, and that because
that's true. That's true. What kind of stuff are you trying to cover in the next video? We got a couple weeks before we do one.
I'm gonna need like a layup here. So
okay, let's see. Let's think of. Well, you said you want to do something a little more obscure, right?
Yeah.
Let's go that direction. Let's lean into something a little more obscure. Let's each pick an album that's a little bit off the beaten path, but that definitely would pal around with our homies, the bands we like.
Okay.
So you mentioned Nerve Agents. You want to pick a Nerve Agents album?
Yeah. I can't offhand, but we'll pick one.
Let's not do Butterfly Collection because I think that I don't really care. We do whatever one you want.
Was there one that fits good into any series that you're doing or any years or?
I'm fixing to look right now. No,
I don't need the scientific nerve agent. I need the band.
Dude, for real. If you start doing some of these band names, you type it in and it gives you all kinds of crap. You're like, that's not what I'm looking for. A punk band.
Like, yeah, especially like when the Descendants became a children's show like that, but also having to do with music has just ruined my internet.
I forgot how bad that was. You're right.
Yeah, and having kids that were into both was just terrible. The nerve agent.
So it's 26 right now. So let's see. Oh shit! I guess 2001 is Butterfly Collection, and it's on Hellcat.
Fit all of our other parameters that we generally.
Of course. Well, then let's look at. Okay, then let's do this. Let's do two more Hellcat bands. We'll do a Hellcat spotlight.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so let's see. 2001 Hellcat Records releases. Oh wow. Sing Loud, Sing Proud, but I think we already did that one.
Yeah, we did it fairly recently.
Oh, man. We could do U.S. Bombs. Okay. Or we could do F-. That might get some...
Let's definitely do F-.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We got to do U.S. Bombs at some point in the near future because I love that band. Do you not like U.S. Bombs?
No, that's fine. But it feels too close to kind of what we just did. So that's how like.
Wait, really?
I just feel like the discussion might be the same.
Wait, hold on.
Or I feel like we've had the discussion on U.S. bombs before. Is the distinction? Really? I feel like we've had the Dwayne discussion a few times at least.
I don't recall that, but you're probably right. My memory is definitely bad.
I just got excited when you said F-. That's why I was like,
no. perfectly cool with doing F minus and Nerve Agents because those bands both rip. So I think we'll touch down in another couple of weeks, 2-3
Screw
weeks.
the algorithm. Heck yeah.
Dude, I mean, honestly, the way my channel is going right now, I think F minus will probably do fine.
Good.
We've been having some good runs. I've been dropping like the videos have been doing fairly well. It's a nice. I don't know if it's a change of pace at all, but I just did an album. A video just opening some punk records. It got 1,000 views, man. It's not even 2 days old yet. So I'm happy with that, dude. And I think that my interviews are doing well. The podcast, people love it. Every time I don't have one for a while, people ask me about it. So that's why I start bugging you guys, because I'm like, okay, it's time to get on the horse again, man. I know y'all are busy, so if you don't have time to do it, just let me know. But I'll start bugging you about it. But I like the routine we're going through now. 1 to 2 a month is great, and then I can do a weekly thing by myself and not get overwhelmed because I can just do one album and talk about it for 45 minutes. I can do the US Bombs myself. Back up to the Laundromat. I love that album. So that might be their best album. Shit, dude, I don't know, dude. US Bombs of the World is really good too. So is Warbirth.
This is gonna be fun. I'm looking at these track listings.
Oh, dude, F minus is not talked about near enough. I might have to do some research for this video so we can actually do a little bit of their background or something.
That's why I felt like almost like the advocacy of like, no, we're not gonna think of F minus maybe later. Like let's do it now.
Yeah, F minus and Nerve Agents will make for a really good hardcore episode.
This is good. Yeah, this is gonna be great. So like the way we do the new show schedule, as you guys are now on the Patreon part, it sounds like hearing the behind the scenes is that like either because we record so infrequently now, I will spend a whole month just completely locked into whatever we're listening to, or I have the right time to cram and I could be fully engrossed in something when we talk about it, which is just kind of it's a cool production schedule right now that we have going to accommodate for the demands.
Well, it's less stressful because we're not doing it as it's not like every single No, it's like okay, we'll do
Remember
it.
We're doing 2 albums every week. Remember that?
Right. Well, we were doing like 3 or 4 albums every week, and now it's like we do 2 every few weeks. It's less stressful for you. It gives me the freedom to kind of do whatever I want. If I get locked out and can't do something for a couple of weeks, it doesn't matter because I've got the freedom to do what I want. I need to do another video essay. It's been a while, but I think that's kind of what I'm thinking with the weekly show.
Yeah, what that would
kind
lead
of take
into.
the place of a video essay, and I won't have to edit so much, but it'll be a bigger long form video of just me talking.
Well, and I think from my behind the scenes, when I do pop on my channel, I can kind of only do it in a live setting, but my goal is to sort of do a video essay through that live sort of show. So I think
are you still trying to do some stuff and edit your own video and do some kind of
yeah, kind of. It's just that like I just had to make a decision sort of out of nowhere because it was hard because I got my stuff going, but it was like, oh, I have kind of a professional opportunity that I sort of have to pour everything into. So I had to pause all of my other stuff that doesn't involve you just for like a very small time. And I know like my audience were like, no, he's just lying that he can't keep up with it. But it was like, this thing came right at the wrong time and the right time. So I kind of had to do what I had to do in the real world. But my general goal is to get back on and just have like a topic and basically peek behind the scenes. It's almost like if there was a radio show that did punk rock that covered one topic is kind of the idea.
Nice. Somebody asked me the other day in the comments how I felt about Finn McKenty in that whole situation. And I was like, I feel like he's kind of a fraud. I think that him leaving is good for the community. And obviously it's better for me. You know, we're creeping up on 17K right now. We're sitting at 16.7 by the next couple of days. Over the weekend we should hit 16.7. So I mean 17,000 is getting pretty close to 20K, man. 20K was the first big hurdle. I was trying to get 10 was probably the first big hurdle, but 20K is a big number, man.
And it's like for me, that's what gives me my creative outlet. So like if I don't have to have my channel for a couple of months, I still got to get on the internet and talk about punk rock. And at least this platform is growing to the pace where it's like, cool, I'm still out there. Like if you want my stuff, this is how you hear it for now. So
it matters too. People like your opinions and your thoughts. I mean, I routinely get told that they prefer yours over mine. So
I only come on just for the validation from your audience. That's
it works, doesn't it?
That's what works for it. Honestly does, because it's like I would assume they would hate all my takes, but it's just weird how people who want to comment what they have to say. I don't know if everyone likes me or if they want to make a point towards you. I'll take it either way.
Dude, you win by default because they call me a giant poser.
Hey, sometimes it's all styles make fights, right?
Right. I'm in the process of doing some major vlog video editing. So like those are probably going to be taking place of my video essays because the vlogs take a lot of work. I filmed a shitload of stuff on that trip to Brownsville, but I'm still working on the New York vlog because it was only a few weeks ago that I was in New York. And so I need to get on the ball with that. Next week, that's my goal, is to finish that video and have it drop probably by next Friday. The whole thing with music and everything.
There's no way the public appreciates what you're saying, respectfully to the public, because like if you see like a vlog that looks like someone on vacation, but think about your vacation if you had to make it into a movie basically that could hold your attention, right? That's like you got to make a narrative out of just the time you had. Like that's an insane amount of work.
I literally have probably 45 minutes of footage of just the driving.
Yeah, and you got to sit through it for like, oh, remember that? We got to use that in B-roll.
Well, like because the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to have driving through Texas as part of the beginning and the end, or maybe like not the very beginning, but like right after the beginning and then right before the end, you'll have just driving to and from. One's going to be like daytime, one's going to be sunset, right? It's going to begin and conclude the video, kind of was my idea. So it'll be like all these little clips of 10 or 15 seconds of me driving. One of them's going to have me pulling up through the border patrol thing. It's going to be cool, but it'll just have music in the background. So it's like driving through Texas with music. So I got to find the music. I got to get it on there. Make sure it's not licensed to anybody, that I can't get myself in any trouble. Probably do some real underground punk and put up on the thing like, music is this band. It'll link in the description, and try to get some shine to some other bands. That's how I do my vlogs now, is I go find obscure bands that I can throw some shine to them and get people interested in their music. So far it's working pretty well.
No, it's a
mutual don't copyright my stuff, so it's like a win-win.
Yeah, and it's probably getting it to a bit respectfully to a bigger audience than they would have on YouTube. So,
and not that they necessarily care, they're not out there begging me to do it, but I imagine that if I just said, "Hey, I did this," they'd probably be like, "Cool, thanks, man." Like, why wouldn't they? Right?
Anyone that didn't make like six figures doing it, I've never presented someone's music somewhere and they've been like, "I can't believe you're doing that."
There's got to be at least a couple punk bands that would react that way.
I would respect them if there was like this totally underground, like living room playing punk band that had like the litigiousness of like Metallica. I need that in my life.
Leftover Crack?
Yes, I need them to like sue us for just quoting the idea of their lyrics. Like I need that. That needs to be like the defendants in the Leftover Crack court case.
That's funny. I enjoyed that album more than I was expecting to.
More than I think we even let on in our conversation, to be honest.
And here's the thing, though, dude, is that I just can't get behind Stizza, man. Because I wanted to talk to him, and that was my one thing. I was like, you know what? I've kind of historically not really been a giant fan, but I was wanting to talk to him, and I'm gonna email him again and say, hey, man, he's still open to doing a conversation. Let me know, because like Brian no-showed me from Bouncing Souls, and so.
You've been chasing that one for a while, too.
Man, I was so sad yesterday, bro. I was in my feels about that one, dude, because I was so excited. And not that I'm trying to get anybody to feel bad for me, but like I literally rented a hotel room for an entire day so that I had the time to sit in a room comfortably with Wi-Fi and talk to him. So it literally cost me $100 to get ghosted. So like I was a little peeved about it, dude. But I was also more like hurt because I was like, fuck, man, come on, dude. The Bouncing Souls are like one of my favorite all-time bands. Like they'll never ever, dude. There's not going to be enough good bands that even come out to not have Bouncing Souls in my top, let's say 7, period, forever. I can't. Right now they're top 5. I don't think that there's going to be 2 more bands that knock them into 6 or 7. I think they're going to stay top 5. So I was super yoked. I can't wait. And I think if I can talk to him, I think I'm going to try to go up and get a tattoo from him too.
Mm-hmm.
So I might try to do like a second follow-up video with him in person. We'll see.
The joys of being a journalist, quote unquote.
Man, right? I tried to tell somebody I was a journalist and they didn't understand what I meant. And I think they didn't really agree. But I was like, well, I fly to other states and cover music and interview people and sometimes in person. And I always film the footage. So what do you call that? I was like, okay, videographer. Sure. I'll take it.
Documentarian. There you go. Right. And if people want it, and if people have an agenda to push, they will talk to you. And if they don't, they won't. So it's similar in that way.
I'm like Michael Moore, but cool.
Yeah, but like you've aged better.
I'm like Michael Moore, but not that kind of dorky. Different kind of dorky.
Yeah.
Because I think saying I'm cool is not accurate at all. Like,
no, you are cooler than Michael. Like, okay, shout out to Michael Moore, but you are cooler than him. Okay, I can declare that. Hot take, cancel me. This guy who runs the punk rock YouTube channel is a little bit cooler than Michael Moore.
I'm gonna get a shirt that just has my face on it and says I'm cooler than Michael Moore.
You know what? And I donate. We need to donate all the proceeds to whatever charity that not Michael Moore, wants to donate to, because I've declared you the winner of the Documentarian Wars.
If I had to donate to a charity, not had to, if I had the money right now to donate to a charity, who would you do? What kind of charity would you donate to if you had some extra? If you had $1,000 you could donate to any charity, what would it be? One. You can't pick 3. You got to pick one.
I don't know of the name of the charity. I
No,
always
just like what
yeah,
topic?
the this is a very specific, but it would be the
Yeah,
transportation for parents of
you
sick kids who
said
get childcare. So
you said trans real funny,
I
and I thought you
knew
were
that that's what I knew. I was like, no, people, I think I'm going there, or so I just didn't want to. Yeah, transportation was what I was going to say, and as I was saying it, I was evaluating how it was going to be taken, and then so that's the. It's been a long day.
I have two different kinds that I really champion. Trans health rights and mental
Mm,
health is important to me, but I've always been a big advocate for like battered women's shelters and
mm,
help. And so I think in my lifetime, I've only donated maybe a total of like $1,000 to charities, and I
mm.
think almost all of it has been to battered women's shelters and things. I just really don't like when men physically harm a lady. I think it's fucking classless and cowardly.
Mm.
And I also think that women that are in those situations need help because they oftentimes have like insecurities, so they don't go get the help and they don't leave the situations. And so I want people to have a place to go when they have the courage to do it. And so that's where I would probably put my money.
Our society is very harsh, and
Actually, you know what? I'll
and
just
it
lie to your
can.
face.
What is it?
Right now, if I had $1,000, I donate it to Christian Kid of the Hates because him and his wife are just going through it right now. Lost jobs, possibly terminally ill, and just it's rough right now. So that's where my money would go. But typically, it'd be a Better Women's thing.
Well,
But
that's why everyone needs to like, share, and subscribe so
one
that
hundred percent.
we can funnel these things to the. We sound that sounds like a real like a pyramid scheme I just introduced you to, but I meant it in a good way.
I mean, I'm all about pyramid schemes. I think I could probably make one work.
Yeah, maybe like a food pyramid scheme. So they told me that was good. So maybe I can do that. It's like a fitness thing or a food pyramid scheme, but it's still a scam.
Damn, the food pyramid got all fucked up, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't even. I'm becoming an anti-science guy because if the people who are just making the rules are just going to be stupid, then screw them. I'm joining the anti-science crowd, but from the smart end of it, idiots.
Bro, I argue with people about science on a regular basis, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not again, even as like I'm Mr. Educated, but I'm a humanities guy. Come on, like talk to Dr. Graff. He's also a social scientist. Talk to Dexter. I don't know, Milo. Someone will get you covered if you need a scientist. I'll produce you one in the punk rock community.
All right, everybody. I gotta get out here. I gotta go run to the restroom and then do my live stream for 2
Cool
hours.
down.
Yeah. All right, man. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Let us know what you want us to cover in the comments, and we'll take notes. But the next episode will be F minus and nerve agents. I might see if Nitty wants to join us for that one because I think he would really like that pod.
That'll be fun.
Hell yeah. Everybody, y'all take it easy. Keep it sleazy. We'll see you in the next punk rock review. Peace.